No excuses for the Baylor Bears. The Baylor Bears, Rob, right here. The Baylor Bears.
Somebody's not a front runner.
Oh, I'm wearing them. Hey, they lost last night, and I'm wearing them.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
All right, give me credit. Give me credit. The Kansas fans, man, they are on me. They've been on me all year. Yeah. They think I hate Bill Self, and you can attest to the fact that, like, I don't hate Bill Self, and Bill Self doesn't. He came on the pod.
Yeah, and he came on because you asked him. It wasn't because I did. That's for sure. We were talking about this before, and you think about Baylor, and Kansas has come a long way, and I dealt with this some too because I had a Kansas game 2 weeks ago where they beat Kansas State, and in the game I said I think their ceiling, if all goes well and perfect for them, is the Sweet 16, and at the time I thought that was fair. I think now you could lift that to the Elite Eight.
Could you go all the way to the Final Four if things break right?
Totally. And part of that is I think there's 3 teams right now that are really good, and everybody else is kind of in a different stratosphere. But when I said that, I had a bunch of Kansas people tweeting me too. At like one win, they beat. I forget who did they beat after Kansas State? Who was that? They beat somebody decent in conference play.
Yeah, they went through a stretch there. I mean, again, they beat Iowa State early. Then they
had a really easy stretch with Iowa State twice, and then Kansas State, and then they beat somebody decent. I'm trying to think who it was. Regardless, and after the game, immediately, you still think their ceiling's the Sweet 16? And of course, it's fluid. Like, you can play better, and then you can play worse.
Right? You can change your mind. Like we are allowed to change our mind. As like Michigan. Yeah. I didn't think Michigan was very good early. Well, the more
like Michigan's saying exactly like saying that, hey, they're going to finish 7th, because at the start of the year that was fair.
Yes,
and I'm still hearing about that, and you are too. But I will say, and I'm defending you here, which I can't believe I'm doing after all the hate I receive on my vertical jump. But that's not the same Baylor team we saw a month ago, and I don't think you can give that type of credit. Now, is it a good win? Yeah, it's a good win. They're talented,
right?
But they were sitting around for a month. They're not.
I don't think it was Baylor, Rob. I'm still convinced that wasn't Baylor that I watched last night. Well, it was some other team came in there that was not Mark Vidal. That certainly wasn't Jared Butler. I mean, it was not Jared Butler. Like, he didn't show up all game. Yeah. Listen, the other part, Rob, that people don't realize, and I don't know, I said this morning. I don't know if it's caught on yet, but 8 players from Baylor had COVID this time.
Yeah. 8 players. That makes a big difference. That makes a huge difference.
Oh, yeah.
Like, Michigan, nobody had it. They were off, but when they come back, you can't compare those two. It's apples to oranges.
Right. My sources said 8 players. So you're talking, some may not have had a major effect from COVID, but again, some you have the layoff, right? You have the layoff for everybody. And then you have some that have the layoff plus COVID, some that just have the layoff, some that may just have COVID and feel okay and were asymptomatic. It's different for everybody, but man, that was not the number 2 team in the country. That looked like a top 50 team last night that Kansas beat. And again, listen, a win's a win. We're not taking it away from Kansas. We're just saying put it in perspective a little bit here. Now, my biggest concern, Rob, is, well, first of all, I do, and I don't want to, I'm not taking a shot at Scott Drew here, but I don't think he made a very smart decision here. I think he should have learned from Juwan Howard in Michigan and said, listen, we're not coming back quick. We're the undefeated team here. We're the Kansas in the Big 12 right now, and you guys should be protecting us. And we shouldn't have to play 2 days after coming out of the pause. Now, maybe it was Scott Drew saying we want to play, because you and I both know Scott. He doesn't like sitting still.
And also, no one wants to lose, but is it really the worst thing if you lose at Kansas? It would have been bad if you lose to Iowa State. There's no doubt about that. But I think that he can use this as a positive, honestly. I know they didn't play well, and I'm sure that upsets him, but I'm sure he's got their attention now. Hey, we were the number 2 team in the country. We had a pause. Not our fault, but it's the way it is. Now we come back. We look like crap against Iowa State. We're not playing well at Kansas. I can get after these guys. I can get their attention. I I don't think he wanted this to play out like this because no coach would volunteer for this.
Yeah.
But you take the card you're dealt, especially in this year. And I think now, the pressure of going undefeated is gone, which Gonzaga still certainly has. But I just think that, you have to take the positives from this. And that, to me, could be a positive out of this.
I'm going to give you another positive, major positive. Baylor's players now are going to be within the 90 days.
They've all had it. Yeah, that's true.
In Indianapolis. That is listen.
The only negative would be if there was some sort of coronavirus heart condition.
Right.
That would be the only thing where you could be like, all right, this is now a huge negative. And you're trusting in Baylor's medical staff to test those kids and be responsible and like do the right thing. But all things being said, as long as the kids are safe and they pass, then yeah, that is good because they can't get knocked out like so many other coaches are losing sleep over at night about.
The negative and the positive might be the timing in a way, right? Like if it had happened a week or two later, you're saying, well, we don't know if Baylor's going to be themselves in Indy. You could still say that, Rob. Like, but you're talking now, like I'm going to Indy in 2.5 weeks. They'll play for their first game in the NCAA tournament will be almost 3 weeks from now. That'll be almost 4 weeks from when they came back and played their first game. They should be back.
It's an eternity in a college basketball season. 4 weeks, you've gone through a week of depression when you lose, and then you win 3 in a row, and you're like, we're the best team in the world.
Well,
college basketball is hilarious because it is the biggest roller coaster.
Are they back? Are they 100% back from COVID, from the layoff and everything? And they will be by then. By then, they should be fine. Now, again, you worry the mental part of it. If they lose another 1 or 2, do they start to kind of worry about themselves, or are they saying we're not worried? We know why who knows? I mean, you lose your kind of mojo a little bit here potentially.
It had to be jarring when Lunardi's stuff comes out and you go from the number 2 1 seed to all of a sudden number 3, just because Michigan's playing so well and just because you've had that spot solidified for the entire year. That had to at least get your attention. I'm not saying it's mentally messing with those dudes, but I know as a player that would grab me where it's man, this is really tough timing and unfortunate this happened to us.
I will say, so I did a story on them. I don't know if you saw it last week on how Baylor was built.
The makeup.
All 12 players. And I was just BSing with them, asking them some stuff. And I said, one of the questions I asked most of them that returned and had prominent roles last year, I said, how much are you guys on a mission this year? Because obviously you had the NCAA tournament taken away last year and a chance to win it all at Baylor. And most of them looked at me over Zoom and said, honestly, it was more the Big 12 tournament, the Big 12 title that we screwed up. Well, they thought they had it. They thought they had it. And if you remember at the end of last year, they blew it.
Yeah. Okay.
Jared Butler said that. He said, for me, it was more the Big 12 title. They want to beat Kansas. It's all about Kansas every year. And it was weird hearing it. Now, Mark Vital, I asked him that. And Mark Vital's the no BS guy, period, on the team. He's like, no. Those guys can say that all they want. For me, it was still about winning a national title.